YouTube? You guys are now watching another segment of the Cali Effect. I am excited not only to present you guys the 60 card Pure Infernoid deck profile, but as well as some replays and a brief synopsis on the strategy. This is easily one of my most favorite decks of the format. I picked it up by accident, but enough of me rambling. Let's get to the deck profile because we are pressed for a bit of time. All of the huge Infernoids, the Onukus and the Deviatis, have the effect of tributing a monster to negate a spell or trap card or a monster effect respectively. Onuku being able to negate monster or spell cards, and Deviati being able to negate monster effects and banish them. Also, when they're special summoned, Onuku allows you to destroy all monsters on the field, and Deviati allows you to destroy all spells and traps. The lower tier Infernoids, the monsters that are 5 through 8, allows you to tribute one Infernoid monster or tribute one monster you control to banish a card in your opponent's graveyard during either player's turn. So we have the Untitled. The Untitled allow you, if it destroys a monster by battle, it can make a second attack. And Seismus is at the end of the battle phase. If it attacked, you can banish one card your opponent controls. The Sijit, we don't necessarily run it, or suggest we don't run it for any other reason other than the Decatron play, which I will explain to you guys later. But if it attacks, I believe you get to banish a card in your opponent's extra deck. Now, the low-level Infernoid monsters, all of them are able to banish cards from your opponent's graveyard, but only during your opponent's turn. We run 3 copies of Petrula. This guy allows you to destroy one spell or trap card during your main phase. Blah. Harmadic allows you to destroy a monster on your opponent's side of the field. Antra allows you to bounce face-up cards on your opponent's side of the field. And Pyramus allows you to spin face-down cards to your opponent's side of the field to the deck. Now, there is one Infernoid that doesn't follow any of the rules, and it is Infernal Decadron. What this card does is that when it's normal summon or special summon, you can send one Infernoid monster from your deck to the graveyard. It gains that monster's level, and it gains that monster's effect. So, very interesting card to use, very techy. It's obviously one of the most important Infernoids in the deck. Next, we run the Speedroid engine, 3 copies of Speedroid Terratop, and that's comboed with 2 copies of Speedroid Takenborg. This allows us to make a lot of rank 3 plays and then baits out a lot of our opponent's combos. Next is 2 copies of Fairy Tale Snow. This card is one of the most important cards of the deck. Essentially allows us to banish 7 cards from our hand, field, or graveyard to special summon itself. And then when it's normal summon or special summon, we get to flip one monster our opponent controls face down. 2 copy of Raiden, Hand of Lightsworn, excuse me. It's a tuner monster. It allows us to send cards from the top of our decks to the graveyard, and it's a level 4 monster, so it plays on a lot of great combo pieces. And then 2 copies of Maxi, because I like to draw cards, and I'm pretty sure you do too. That's it for monsters. On to spells, we run 3 copies of That Grass Looks Greener. If you activate this card and resolve it on your first turn, more often than not, you are going to win the game, provided that you mill at the very least, 10 cards. It is an outright blowout. It allows you to send cards from your deck to the graveyard, equal to the amount of equal to the differential of the number of cards in your opponent's deck. 2 copies of Left Arm Offering. We use this to search That Grass Looks Greener, but I've actually used it for a couple of other things as well, searching any of my other spell cards. All you have to do is banish your whole hand and have at least 2 cards in your hand. You can't set cards the turn you activate that card. Next card is 3 copies of Pot of Desires. Since we run 60 cards, we necessarily don't care about activating 2 copies of Pot of Desires in one turn. I do it all the time. 2 copies of Void Imagination. What this card does is make all of our Infernoid monsters level 1, and it also allows us to fusion summon for Infernoid Tiara. 3 copies of Void Vanishment. What this card does is we can discard 1 card from our hand to add 1 Void card from our deck to our hand. Also, in Infernoid monster battles, we can banish that Infernoid and the battling monster. 2 copies of Twin Twisters for back row hate. 2 copies of Charge the Light Brigade, because you want to dig into your Raiden and it lets you dig into your cards. 1 1-for-1, 1 Monster Gate, 1 Reasoning. These cards allow us to either tutor Decatron to our side of the field or mill a number of cards from our deck to the graveyard before we get into our monsters for an amazing plays. Keep in mind when you activate Reasoning and Monster Gate, if you were to reveal an Infernoid monster that can't be normal summoned, or cannot be normal summoned, you send it to the graveyard. So essentially you activate Reasoning, your opponent calls a level, and then you send all of your cards to the graveyard until you can find a monster that can be normal summoned and special summon it. Same thing for Monster Gate. For traps, we run 3 copies of Void Feast. Void Feast allows us to send 1 Void Spell or Trap card from our hand to the graveyard to special summon 3 Infernoid monsters from our deck, ignoring its summoning conditions up to the levels of 8. This card is awesome. 2 copies of Breakthrough Skill. What this card does is it allows us to negate our opponent's monsters, so it's really good. Also, while it's in the graveyard due to Grass Looks Greener, Reasoning, or Monster Gate, we can banish it to target a monster our opponent controls, and its effect is negated. 1 copy of Lost Wind. This card is just outright bananas. Okay, so when the opponent special summons a monster and if it's in the graveyard, we can set it face down. Furthermore, we can target one of our opponent's face-up special summon monsters and negate its effects as well as half its attack. That's it for the main deck. For the extra deck, you can get pretty creative with the extra deck. I'm going to show you guys what I'm running. 1 copy of Vermilion Mech. Card's very bananas. 1 copy of Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend. You could, in turn, play Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. It is not hard to play inside of this deck. 1 copy of Cypher and Lord Omega. You only need 1. It's pretty busted. 1 copy of Black Rose Dragon. You can also alternatively run Black Rose Moonlight. 1 copy of Michael Arc Lightsworn. Really good card. Great on field clearing and it mills cards. 1 copy of Coral Dragon. I found myself needing this card more often than not. It is just outright an amazing card. And if you are playing Crystal Wing, you would need to play this. The Utopia package, really good. Castell, Diamond Direwolf, the rest of the rank 4s. Breaksword, Totem Bird, Dante Traveler. You make this a lot, especially the Totem Bird with the Speedroid engine. And then the Infernoid Tiara. Card's just really good. If you ever do get to summon it, you're probably going to win. Now, there are some alternative cards, and I know I showed you, I believe, 14, that you could be playing inside of this deck. Minerva, for the people that actually have one. Draco Sack is also a good option when you use 2 Seismists or a Seismist and a level 7. It also allows you to clear itself off the board to clear an opponent's card, and then you can continue to summoning, and then Hope Harbingers for your 8s. That is it for the main, or for the side deck. Or for the extra deck, my apologies. For the side deck, 2 copies of Vanity's Fiend. If you go first, you summon this, you're probably going to win. 2 copies of Chaos Hunter, prevent opponent from banishing. 3 copies of Jinzo, back row heavy decks. 2 copies of Void Seer. This card has some amazing properties for this deck. Not only does it protect your Noids, it protects your Noids both ways, when it's in the graveyard or it's in your hand. The Raigeki and Dark Hole for field clearance. Twin Twisters, and 2 copies of Lost Wind. That is it for the deck profile. I'm going to explain a little bit more as I show you guys the replays. Alright guys, on to the replays. Infernoids are a very simplistic deck that can put you in very complicated situations. It does take quite a bit of time to completely master all of the plays, as well as fit your extra deck and your side deck to what exactly you were trying to do. This time around, I'm going to be showing you guys when you don't draw That Grass is Greener or Left Arm Offering to tutor into your That Grass is Greener, which is going to be quite some time, but you are still able to tutor cards inside of your deck and still mill off half your deck if you build the deck correctly and if you play it right. As you guys can see, the Speedroid engine is nothing less of amazing in here. Yes, it does provide a vulnerable D barrier, but at the same time, it allows you to make cards like Totem Bird, Dante, which gets you an additional mill of 3, and Breaksword, which is instant spot removal. The thing that I want to tell you guys about Infernoids that I didn't tell you about in the deck profile is that you cannot summon monsters in the excess of level 8 if you have level 8 monsters or up to level or rank 8 effect monsters on your side of the field. So for example, since I have Totem Bird and Infernal Decadron, I would not be able to summon an additional Infernal monster from my graveyard. But if I just had Infernal Entando, which is a level 8, I would be able to summon another Infernal monster from my graveyard. Also, the mid and higher tiers, level 5 and up, can special summon themselves from the hand or graveyard, whereas the lower tier, level 4 and lower, can only special summon themselves from the hand. All of this excludes Decatron, because Infernoid Decatron does not follow the regular Infernoid concept. This time again, I'm going to be showing you guys how exactly, or one of the better plays of the deck, is to make Seismists an Infernoid monster and Cyphering Lord Omega. Omega allows you to recycle all of your banished cards through Pot of Desires or all of your banished Infernoids, as well as manipulate your opponent's hand. Seismist is just a really powerful card. Anytime it battles an opponent's monster, at the end of the battle phase, you get to destroy or banish 1 card on your opponent's side of the field, and it does not target. Card is really good. As you guys can see, I'm going to go ahead and make Coral Dragon again easy access to the card, and it's really good at board clearance. He doesn't really have much else to do except for lose the game because I have so many resources still in my graveyard. I have 17 cards of my 60 card deck left. This time around, I'm going to draw That Grass is Greener against a high tier deck, Mermail, and it's going to be a really easy match once you activate cards like The Grass is Greener because you can manipulate your graveyard and control it whatever your opponent is playing. Cypher Lord Omega is going to basically make my Seismus a 1 summon, and then I'm going to hit the Mermail Abysstius with Ciphering Lord Omega, which definitely put him back a whole nother turn. Omega is going to return to his side of the field, and since I only have a level 8, I can special summon another Infernoid monster from my graveyard to my side of the field. Next, I'm going to summon Decatron. In the TCG, this would completely work before you guys even get to me. He's going to activate Prince. I'm going to banish I'm going to negate the Prince, and I'm going to banish the Dragoons. In TCG land and North America land, I apologize, he would not be able to search with the Dragoons, but I guess this isn't North America where I'm at, so he was allowed to search. Other than that, I really don't think there was any other mishaps with the system. Basically, I'm still going to get the Omega back, and I have complete control over the game. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed some of these replays. If you guys want to see more about the Infernoid concept, you can always catch me on Twitch, or you can always catch our live streams on my Facebook. Please like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, enjoy.